strong with the words who they live in who is strong with the holiday rules or they also hold the weather the solar and regulations all very good. Understand the social when you the discovery this means and models by using quantitative and data. There is little chance of discovery this means and models by using quantitative and even qualitative data or even quantitative skill relations that can be social to look at the meanings like in the social action. Some integrated sociologists and their views of this great region and independence like the okay, and then we have some integrative sociologies like the natural science methodology for the study of the social action. This is the subject matter of sociology and we see the subject matter of the social natural science and social natural science of very different natural science with the matter and matter has no consciousness is behavior and explain that extrovert is complex to reactions such as because of behavior like matter and division of emotion. Therefore, it is important introvert experience the world in terms of meaning of their experiences they actively construct their own social reality. Not the concept of social reality meanings do not have independent existence or reality of their own. Yes, so meanings don't have that we have done it. Simply the reaction that so just compare the reaction in any way because behavior is essentially meaningless. The natural science deal with the matter since matter have no consciousness is behavior can be explained simply as a reaction to the external stimuli. The natural science deal with the matter since matter has no consciousness is behavior can be explained simply as a reaction to the external stimulus compared to reaction such as because behavior is essentially meaningless. Like matter people have consciously they attach meaning to the social. They see and interpret what in terms of the meaning, so they actively construct their own reality. As fundamental as the view of the matter, so matter has no consciousness. Its behavior convention simply the reaction to the external stimuli. It is compared to action this is because its behavior is simply meaningless. Qualitative it is the traditional syntax and the social to interpret the meanings of the behind the social action. Some interviews of the use of the use of the messages and the project of the study of social action. They see the subject matter of social analysis fundamental to the matter and deeply the matter. This matter is known as being dependent explain the action of stimuli. The commercial phase, it's an explain simple the reaction to a stimuli. It is compared to reaction this way because of the reason like matter for people have the consciousness they see different explains the in terms of the meanings this is when the meanings actively construct in their own social realities. Means not have an existence an independent existence and founded a relative which is in they are not imposed by external society that constrain members to act in such a way they are constrained by the reality and the forms of social interaction. Stimulus. So let us meaning to the symbol of activity matter conduct other letters decoration business structure means they actively construct their own sociality, meaning not have an independent means not have independent reality of their own, which is somehow separate from the that is the reality that is somehow separate from the social actors. They are not imposing they are imposing from the external society that consider the member to act instead they are constructed and reconstructed by the social interaction. I think पूरा interpretive understanding करना पड़ेगा. Is non-positive methodology scientific illustrate. So what is non-positive methodology? Micro understanding constraining of थोड़ा सा constraint है, but it's not all of the constraint. Cannot impose management factor that constrain the members. Is it integrated inside the meaning of they are not imposed action in society that constrain members to activity. They are constructed and reconstructed in the process of social instructions. Jump or whatever the action is stated by the individual so project who always add the causal explanation human being is impossible without some understanding that. So it's a very interesting thing that the causal explanation of human being is impossible without having an understanding of the internal meanings and motives of the individual. Without getting an understanding of the subjective stage of the individual concerned. So the pursuit might be content to discover what external factors led to a certain type of human behavior. While an advocate, the person might be content what external factors led to a certain behavior. An advocate is more political, interested in meanings attached to the those engaged in it. I'll start the classes only when I have at least 10 students. Okay, if you can bring 10 students in, most surely I can start in this language class. Abhay. At least I should have 10 students to start the class. Otherwise it makes no sense. How is going to be? What do we do? We'll be emphasizing more on English language, spoken skills, and the how to speak, formally, and building your communication abilities and all. And if you are not clear with any, if you are still studying or not clear with any concept, then we can work upon that also as well. So it will be more like a support classes, and the emphasis will be on enhancing your communication skills. So that's how I think, but I just won't start with one student, you know. No, it won't work for me. I don't have that much of time because I teach my building children also. So I don't have that much of time. So that's the issue. No, is they're small children, like from class 1 to 8. I mean, they're not adolescent. They are small children. No, they are the building children. They come in my home and they study here. So that's a totally different concept. Anyways, I will resume my studies. Okay, I hope it's clear. If you can bring 10 students, you know, who are at least teenagers, starting from age 16, then only we can go ahead with the, you know, language classes. Otherwise it's like waste of time. Okay, fine. So I have my exams in 5 months. I'm preparing for that. Till then, bye. Just wait. I have to plug in the charger. Yeah, I said I don't need break. I'm fine with that. I just took break recently. Okay, so I'll be resuming with my studies again. I had to plug in the charger. Just setting that time. Yes, yes. I'm resuming my studies. I said how's weather? Mumbai is raining here. You're only going to teach. Yes, yes. I'll be taking the class. I will be taking the class, but only if I have at least, again I said you to begin with the class 10 students, because I will be compromising. I can't say right now all such things. Let me study. I'm in this. Can't reply. Just I'm informing about the class that I'll begin only if I have at least 10 students. Max what we did. The probability when the study of what and works. Action exposition takes account the meanings of it when it takes account for other members of when it takes account the other members very we did an explanation of social action necessitated and understanding the meaning that by individual communicate human behavior. The student will interpret the meanings given to the must interpret given in order to establish causative relationship. Interpret the meanings given to actions given to the action and after sense of person in order to was topping we must discover the person's motive for doing so. Intermediate examples. Okay. For example, shopping mall, the person's motive for doing so, whether it was to earn money or but was angry for motive or standing with could be done to do. There is a method for roasting him. Roasting him. Many to be the person. Whose behavior was significant. But when emphasis on meanings and what is obvious through his work, prudence and the spirit of capitalism. To imagine yourself around yourself as human the question of the person who they are seeking to explain. Okay, explain. Yeah, thanks. This capitalism is one of his concerns to interpret the beliefs and the motives of the Calvinist faith. However, he was not simply concerned with understanding the meanings and motives of their own sake. He gave the motive preference, social rights, and social change. He was interested in causality. Just understanding the causality and preference social that we know, right? But he was not only interested in understanding the beliefs, he also wanted to explain social change and was also interested in causality. So this can be this can really this can be simply from people who is critical. So now we have to understand what are the methodology that he has used as a comparative method. And comparative method is system to compare the characteristics of every capitalism and the different the beliefs of the different religion and how Calvinists led to the emergence of capitalism and other religion did not lead to the emergence of capitalism. Explained through comparative method, the system to compare the characteristics of every capitalist society and technology advanced oriental societies. By doing so, we have isolated ascetic potentialism as a variable that contributed to the rise of the capitalism, independent variable. He saw the model religious beliefs and the particularly Calvinists as one of the main factors accounting for the emergence of capitalism in the West. We are moving to symbolic language. This is done almost interpreting one thing and meanings and meanings and examples, the chopping board, then how to study verse hand, progressively interested in casualty as well, social change, comparing symbolic interaction. So from symbolic interactions perspective, their main motive is to understand the interaction process and how the individual goes on constructing and reconstructing social realities through the process of interaction. Okay, what you're doing is very tough to read your name or ID, whatever it is. I'm studying for masters. So symbolic motive is them to establish causal relations between sociology and indeed they see an important part. I know that. So symbolic motive is indeed they see an important part of the sociology. However, they tend to play the status of the studies and provide greater insight into human behavior interactions and seeing largely governed by the internal process by which people interpret the social phenomena and give nature of our lives in particular in terms of the idea of self-concept. So the main idea of the symbolic interactions is the idea of the self-concept or the image of themselves. Which is data reinforce or modified in the process of interaction with other members of those human beings have an image of what sort of person they are and they will tend to act in accordance with that image. They might see themselves as caring, tough, honest, dishonest, weak, strong, and as caring to and has their behavior reflects the sense of their own character. The response of others to an individual will make it impossible for him to sustain that self-concept. So first is and how this self-concept motivated in the process of interaction means having responsible make it impossible for him to sustain particular self-concept. The self-concept will change and turn the behavior of the individual with the order. Some other way the individual is guided by the external factors. Those interactions have to show the labeling of the area. The labeling of the people as a deviant. Here we get the example of Utkatam or an education success failures can produce a self-fulfilling prophecies in which the behavior is studied. Self-fulfilling behavior comes to live up to the expectations of fabrical interactions for the so we got one thing from here. We have symbolism about the most important. We also had meat. Meat. About Bloomer was the student of meat. Okay. Number Bloomer development and application was used sociological methodology. Bloomer checks what he regard as a simplistic attempt to establish cause and effect relationship that characterize positives. As an example, Bloomer refers to proposition and industrialization causal replacement of the external families with okay. So industrialization causal replacement of the external families with the nuclear families is object to the procedure of isolating variables and assuming that industrialization causal replacement of industrialization. That you are no little or no reference to the actor's view of the situation. He also said that the data on meanings and interpretation that actors give to various forces of industrialization, casualization, and family life are essential before relationship can be established between two parties. Okay, Bloomer claims that many sociologists conduct to light of symbolic and self-concept. This is a key word for symbolic and praxis. Bloomer claims that many sociologists conduct the research only with a superficial familiarity with the area of life and investigation. This often combined with the occupation with aping the research procedure measures and rather than discovering the social reality. The net result is the imposition of the imposition of the definition of social regard for the relevance to the world. Assuming social reality from the actor's perspective, many sociologists have attempted to force it into predefined categories and concepts. This provides a chance of capturing social reality, but a very good chance of distorting it. Okay. So, in case of such question, argues that sociology he has come up with methodological approach in order using symbolic interactionist methodology in order to understand the social reality through actor's perspective, actor's point of view, rather than the researcher point of view. In case of Bloomer argues that sociology must immerse themselves in the area of life that they fit to investigate, rather than attempting to fit data into predefined categories. They must attempt to grasp the actor's view of social reality. is my opinion on way inside the experience of the actor since action is directed by actors means the social must cast a positive interpretation through which they construct their action. This means that the researcher must take the role of the acting unit who is doing okay. In place of Subrahmanya, as the sociologist must immerse into the area of life data they seek to investigate. Rather than attempting to fit data into predefined categories, they must attempt to grasp the actor's point of view. This involves feelings one way inside the experience. You have to understand the experience of the actor and grasp the actor point of view rather than filling the data into predefined categories. This involves feeling most way inside the experience of the actor. Okay, since one actor is directed by actor's meaning, the sociologist must catch the process of interpretation through which they construct their social action. This means that the researchers must take the role of the acting unit of behavior history. Boomer offers no simple solutions as how this type of research may be conducted. However, the flavor of the research procedures he advocates is captured in the following. It is a tough job requiring a higher order of careful and honest probing, creative discipline, imagination, resourcefulness and flexibility in study, pondering over what one is finding, and a constant readiness to test and recast one's views and images of the area. Okay, this is done, I think. Actors view to the actor's perspective, inside the actors. Action is directed by actor's meaning. So one must catch the process of interpretation through which they construct their action. This means that the researcher must take the role of the acting into whose behavior he is studying. Humor offers no simple solution as to how this type of research may be conducted. However, the flavor of the research moving towards phenomenology. So, who write the phenomenology, they reject the causal explanation of the social phenomenon. The whole motive lies in understanding the phenomena, social phenomena that is created and constructed by the individuals. They aim to understand the life experiences of the individual and how individual view or make sense of their life. The nature of social actor. Most radical departure most radical departure from the scientific quantitative methodology and examined at the start of the chapter. Okay. When Hobson said that phenomenology studied the lived human phenomena with everyday so I have done this. Don and Hobson. So Don Hobson says that phenomenology. Don Hobson fitting. Don Hobson says that phenomenology is the study of the lived human phenomena within everyday social context. Lived human phenomena with everyday social context in which the phenomena occur from the perspective of those who experiment. What is phenomenology? It is the study of the lived everyday human phenomena with within everyday social context in which the phenomena occur from the perspective of those who experience it. Phenomena covers anything that the human beings read or experience. So this pattern Don Hobson radical departure is a study of the human phenomena, the lived human phenomena within everyday social context in which the phenomena occur. Everyday social phenomena from the perspective of those who experience the phenomena. Okay. Now let's go further and transmits in that to reject any that we have done for producing causal explanations of the human behavior. They do not believe it is possible to objectively, measure and classify the social world. To phenomenologists, human beings make sense of the world by imposing meanings and classifications. These meanings and classification make up the zone. How does a human make sense of? So human beings make sense of the world using the meanings, and these meanings and classification form the social reality, and there is no social reality beyond this meanings and world. There is no objective reality beyond the subjective meanings. Okay. So how to do such? Understand the meanings and classification given by individual to the social world. Things and classification make up the social reality, and there is no objective reality beyond the subjective reality. Okay. A phenomenological investigation involves an exercise known as reduction. Phenomenological reduction as an attempt to set aside what we already know about something and describe how we came to know it. So it is the methodology that they use is phenomenological reduction attempt. So it's like an attempt to set aside what we already know about something and to describe how we came to know it. कैसे पता चला? It's a matter of tracing the process by which we give meaning to the world. It involves a suspension of our everyday common sense beliefs and an attempt to describe how we come by those beliefs. Okay. Process, to understand the process of the meaning. Tracing the process by which we give meanings to the world. It's like a tracing the process. Thus, for example, in sociology, study of example of cause, so study of juvenile delinquency, juvenile justice. He studied how police, and juvenile officers classify the behavior of the deviants and how they classify someone as deviant and non-deviant, and what are the subjective approach involved in the classification. did not find the causes of early largely dependent on the steroid. At the public classifying behavior of the brands into certain categories of delinquent and non-delinquent, and Cecil did not find the causes of behavior. It is largely dependent on the subjective and stereotypes in the minds of the delinquent juvenile officers. Assess data on the convictions for various delinquent as well as social product. Based on the commonsensical assumptions of the authorities who created the statistics. At first, a study might simply suggest that at first, might suggest that the statistics were invalid and further research might be vulnerable. The true rate of delinquency of hyper phenomena is rejected. All statistics are social construction. We have done social products or social construction that reflect the subjective biasness of those who produces it. The means of those who created them. The meanings are the reality. The meanings are the reality that sociologists must examine. Crime statistics have no existence outside the meanings and interpretive procedure to produce them. To assume that there is a true crime rate that has an objective reality is to misunderstand the nature of the social world. From phenomenological deduction, process of how we came to know this. From a phenomenological perspective, the job tracing the process. The job of the sociologist is to understand the meanings from which social reality is constructed. Phenomenologists believe that the problem of the classification is universal and not unique to a particular type of data. All people, all of the time, decisions are the product of the social norm. People only make decisions about how to classify beings. All people and decisions are the product of the social process. The classification is a subjective state of those who produce it. On a simple level, what one person may classify as a chair might be classified by another as a wooden object and by a third person who was involved. From this point of view, all data are the product of the classification system used by those who produce the data. If the classification system are different, the data will be different. Furthermore, to phenomenologists, no way of choosing between different systems of classification and saying one is superior or another. It is therefore pointless to use data address upon the interpretations of the individual in order to try to establish correlation relationship. Thus, using official statistics to reach the conclusion that being working class was a person to commit crime is not justified. The figures of honest so how crime was defined and classified rather than what criminal actions had been carried out by the popular groups within the population. Crime was defined and classified.
In the ₹9 workshop that you're providing, what all do you cover?
In ₹9, you learn how to automate your
living under confinement means and the classroom people which with the exclusive consists of the meanings and the social construction of reality and what is considered almost entirely the subjective aspects of the social life. Limits of understanding the meanings and the classification of people give used to give order to make sense of the world. If there is exclusive
AI is not replacing you. Slow reading is. Because slow readers are slow learners. And for slow learners, the world seems to move faster. My name is Rajni.
Facebook is also for meanings and the people construction of reality. Individual consciousness. Social construction reality. On display they therefore tend to use qualitative methods and that give access to subjective states of their religion. Therefore tend to use qualitative give access to subjective states of their religion. Simon Chazos is introduced in his study of models of life and obsolete observation and in common introduced a study that is also cancer and teaching of example of Robert Bloomer, Dobson, the sociologic side, positivism, let's do the interpretative one. The kind. So individualism side, so these are multiple theories, state theory and quantitative and qualitative, critical social science methodology. Interpreters for weekend. Let's do the examples and then we'll move on. In what reason critical social science judgment is famous methodology. Postmodern methodology of it. This is what the choice of business topic. Should we move towards this? Choice of business topic. Choosing a primary research. So what do we criteria involved in choosing this? We can do comes in both. Sampling we can do of course. Case studies, yes. Life histories, pilot studies. Quantitative we can avoid for some time now. Move to interviews. Okay, almost done. And ethnography and all. Longitudinal research. Pertaining to live documents, mass media visual analysis. What will be left is positivity. Almost done. The social minimum system. statistical method to establish causal analysis on society and promoted theory on society. He criticized Durkheim by affirming that um, there was no attention paid to the internal meanings and motives to the of the individual's life, and there was not been any attempt to understand the internal consciousness of the individual or the subjective state of the individual that would reveal why that individual committed suicide. Question: the validity found a reason as to whether a certain social means or is non-positive methodology scientific. For all the non-positive scientific, it has certain methodology to understand the social world or the social phenomena, though it lays emphasis on the internal meaning, the motive, but it also attempts to establish cause and effect relations, and it does by emphasizing on research methodology that is specific to social sciences like Verstehen, ideal type, phenomenological reduction. One of the best known interpretive critics of the time suicide was Jerry Douglas. Douglas particularly criticized the use of official status of the use of suicide, questioning the validity. He pointed out is daily topics particularly criticize the use of the official statistics in society, questioning their validity. Point out that the reason as to whether certain data is society or not is the reflects the bias of the corner and is influenced by other people such as family, friends, or religious objective. Such a systematic bias may enter the process of reaching a result, and this bias could explain Durkheim's findings. For example, when a person is well integrated in the social group, the family and friends might be more likely to deny the possibility of this suicide, but to themselves, both to themselves and the corner. They may feel a sense of personal responsibility, at least in to try to guard out the society with less well integrated members of the society. This is less likely to happen, so while it might appear that the number of societies related to integration, in reality, the degree of integration simply affects the chances of sudden death being recorded in society. Very interesting question. Suicide status as a result of the negotiation between different parties involved. Negotiation between the different parties involved. However, there are distortions in the statuses were systematic. By implication, it might be possible to reduce or allow for this distortions to produce more reliable statistics that could be used to apply this. Second criticism Durkheim was that it was ridiculous for Durkheim to treat all society as the same type of act without investigating the meaning attached around it. First is related to the biasness around who all are framing or classifying certain act as a society or non-societal act. Negotiations and then second criticism Durkheim was that it was ridiculous for Durkheim to do all strategy at the same time without investigating the meanings. First criticism, second to this point of writing different cultures society can have different meanings. For example, if a businessman is modern industrial society himself because his business has collapsed after it is quite different from society often elderly. That is he feels himself for the benefit of the society at a time and for shortage. Each act has a different motive behind it and and a social meaning that is related to the society and context in which it took place. Very interesting. In order to categorize society according to the social meanings, Douglas suggested it was necessary to carry out the case studies to discover the meanings of it. What are the social meanings going to say? Thank you, Anup. And discover the meanings of the particular suicides. These case studies could be based upon interviews and with those who knew the person well and analysis of the suicide notes and the diaries of the disease. Although he did not carry out such a Douglas nevertheless claimed that the most common social meanings of society mentioned in this society are transformation of the soul, society as a way of getting to heaven, transformation of the self, society as a means of getting others to think of you differently. Transformation of the soul, transformation of the self, achieving a fellow feeling as sympathy, and society as a means of getting revenge by making others feel guilty. In other societies, other meanings might be more common, so there could be different meanings of society. treating the suicide as a problem solving. This guy has micro dose game and social media suicide. Very good. The first solution that we developed that made extensive use of the case studies of society and existing literature and classified society according to their meanings. So that's how he classified society according to their meanings. The meaning, the case study used to understand the meanings and motives of the individual. Okay. He sees societal behavior as a way of responding to and trying to solve a problem. Societies adopted where there seems to be no alternate solution. And from this perspective, it then becomes possible to classify societies according to the type of the solution they offer and the type of the situation they are response to. Escapist society. Take three forms. Some people take their own life as means to fight from an intolerable situation. So we have escapist or aggressive society, oblative society, and looting society. Moving to escapist society, it takes three forms. Some people take their own life as a means of flight from an intolerable situation, or as a fight. So this society is a response to grief about the loss of something in particular, perhaps loved ones or even in society may also be a means of self-punishment used by a person where they feel they have done something wrong. So this is whole idea of escapist society. So situation meaning so now we have the aggressive society, or a way of harming another person or people. There are four types of aggressive society. Vigilant society are intended to make others feel guilty or to bring condemnation on them from the society. Also, crime society is feeling another person a spouse in turns the gun himself. Blackmail society are used to persuade someone else to change their behavior and treat the society victim better. Appeals are used to show others that a person concerned is in need of blackmail, and appeal or concern is definitely often the end pursued by those who make society victims and either fail or are not entirely serious. So first we have the escapist society, and then we have the aggressive society. You take a vigilance or you blackmail someone. We have the oblative society. Our way of achieving something that is particularly valued by the sacrifice involves giving escapist aggressive oblative society. Sacrifice involves giving up one's own life to save another person. Transfigurations were used in order to obtain a more desirable loved one in the afterlife. Looting society involves taking deliberate risks that might lead to death. That would have the ordeal and the game. Ordeals are ways by which an individual tries to prove themselves to others by showing their bravery, and gains about taking risk for the hell of the program, paying attention or whatever. Suggestion that cause of such can be found. Means and motive of it doesn't believe that societal investment wholly or even mainly in terms of external factors as well as forces. Whatever the external factor is, it always happens that the number of those who do not commit society is infinitely greater than the number of those who do. Not everyone whose business fails or those whose spouse dies Or is a pedestrian in an urban area kill himself or herself? This to better side almost always be at least partially explained through personal factors that are particular to an individual. Best of works differs from the studies.
Sim, sim.